Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Average Guy 1983. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about this Ford Flex. Um, I ended up trading in my 2012 Hyundai Genesis sedan with a little over 86,000 miles. I traded it into Ford of Montebello here in basically California, because it's not Los Angeles. But I traded it into them and I got 6 grand for the car, which wasn't so bad as my trade-in value. And the car basically paid itself off. I only owed about $535 on the car, and I needed something bigger because my kids, they're growing fast. I have teenagers, and they're gonna be attending ninth grade this year for 2019, and I just needed more space, more knee space, more hip room, and this met all of my needs. So this here is the Ford Flex SEL. I believe is the 202A package. So it comes with the appearance package, the Vista roof, GPS navigation, backup camera, um, some kind of backup sensors. It also has adjustable electronic pedals that adjust forward and back for people who may have short, stubby legs or feet. And yeah, let's go ahead and check it out. And I want to start off with the trunk, because this is one of the main reasons why I got it. So I'm not a fan of minivans, and technically speaking, a minivan would have met all of my needs space wise and trunk space. So this is why I went with this car, because again, I don't like the design of minivans, but I like the way this car looks. It's like a station wagon slash SUV, so I believe that's why it's called a crossover. But let's get to it. Let's go all the way to the back, and let's start off with the trunk so I can show you how deep it is. And I already got the measurements of the trunk with the measuring tape, so I figured I'd go ahead and let you guys know how big it is, so see if this will meet your needs. Now, one of the main reasons why I got this Flex is because I have a son that has Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and he's my oldest 14-year-old from my twin son and daughter. And he basically, I needed something that would be able to fit his wheelchair in here really well, and be able to have him get in and out of the car with ease without struggling so much like we did on the other car. So this one is higher in basically feet from the floor up compared to my Genesis, but it's lower than a standard SUV. The other car I was looking at was a Kia Telluride S, and it was nice, but the downfall of that car, in all honesty, was the trunk. The trunk wasn't big enough to fit my son's wheelchair in it, and we tried it out and it didn't fit. But it did have slightly more horsepower than the Flex. It also had a little more interior space than this Flex, but it lacked trunk space, and that's why I went with this. So with that said, let me grab my key fob here. Now, the back of this key fob, let me see if I can go ahead and get this here for you guys. The back of this key fob is actually missing the metal key that goes on the driver's side, and it's because it needs to be machined. And I actually got 2 of these keys that came with the car, and they're actually machine cutting my keys. So once I come back in a week or two to the dealership, they'll have my keys available and everything else. I do have a factory installed alarm in it that's like low jack, so I do have that installed in the car, as well as the wheel locks, and I got a fair pricing for it. I did have to haggle the dealership a bit, but I was able to get it for the pricing that I wanted it for. So anyways, let's go ahead and push the keys. So as you can see on this key fob here, you have quite a few options. You have the button that you have to push twice to start your car remotely. You got your lock, unlock, and double push to open the trunk, and your panic button. So we'll talk a little bit about that, because that's a pretty cool feature. But let's go ahead and get to the trunk first, and let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, now inside of this trunk, as you guys can see, it has a really deep trunk, and I already brought out my measuring tape, so I don't want you guys to think I'm lying about the sizes, but I am going to tell you guys what it is. Okay, the depth. Let's get straight to it, okay? The depth from the bottom of the floor here to the edge of the lip of the trunk, it's 10 inches deep. So 10 inches deep from here all the way down to the carpet. From this area here to the edge of the lip of the trunk is 15.5 inches. And from this corner here to this corner over here is 40.5 inches. That is a really deep trunk, basically half the size of what you would get in a minivan. And yeah, the minivans have like super deep trunks and they're perfect for traveling. But again, I'm not a fan of a minivan, so I went with this option because I thought this looked more cooler. The Flex does have more space than the Explorer. It also has more hip room and knee space than the Explorer. So I'm gonna go ahead and close up this trunk, and we're gonna go ahead and go to the second row seating. So to open the car, if you have the key fob, you just have to simply touch the back of the inside of here with your hand, and it would automatically unlock. See that? Just simply touch. And let's go ahead and get back in here real quick. Okay, so in here, as you guys can see, there's a lot of space. And between the measurements of the bench, from the edge of the bench there to the edge of here is 51 inches. So you have 51 inches of hip room. The center from this corner here of the stitching to this corner of the stitching is 13 inches. So if you have a car seat and you need to try to fit it there in the middle, try to get something within that bracket. Otherwise, if it's larger, it might get blocked off by the seatbelt there, or you might actually have trouble putting the seatbelt on and off on that. Other than that, the knee room from this point here to the back of here is approximately 13 inches, which is a lot of room. When my kids sit in here, my twins that are 14, they literally have 8 inches of space from the back of this to their knees when they're sitting down. So that's a lot of space. This one does come with the Vista roof, which is something that the Telluride S was lacking a bit. It did have a panel at the top, but it didn't have nothing for the third row. The third row was completely like not even considered for anything. And I didn't like that. And on this Flex, you get the Vista roof. So every seat inside of this car has its own little moonroof slash sunroof. Of course, with the consideration that only the front opens up. But these ones have these little guards that you could put on, these little screen meshes to cover up some of the sunlight so that it won't be too hot inside the car or too bright. The tint from the factory is a little too light. So I am going to be taking it to a shop in the next week or two and have some darker tint installed. I'm not sure if I'm going to put anything in the front, because the honest truth is that I live in Los Angeles, California, and having your front windows tinted, no matter how light the tint, it is 100% illegal. So they're really strict here in the state of California when it comes to that. But other than that, as you can see, here is the seating for the bench. And unfortunately with the bench, you cannot move the bench forward or back. It's only sit in one position. On the back, from the back bench here, or basically the third row, it does have its limitations on space, okay? It really does. From here though, I can tell you right now, from this point here of the edge here to here is 8 inches, okay? So you have 8 inches of space. So you could sit your child or your teenager on a regular chair and measure the edge of their knee where it bends. From that part of the inside of their knee where the back of their calf would touch this area, measure that area to the front till you reach 8 inches, and you'll find out pretty much how much space you'll have between your knee and the back of the seat. So if you actually option yourself for the captain's chairs, you'll actually be able to move the seat forward and back to give the rear passengers more space. Let's see here. You do have air conditioning on the second and third row, and the controls for that is right here on the side. Basically the AC fan or condenser or whatever you call it is back here. So when you have the air conditioner on, you could actually hear a motor spinning inside of this panel. It's not annoying or anything, but if you do turn it up full blast, you will hear it louder. So that would be something that I would probably consider covering up with like some sound deadening material from the inside. And that's about it. You got 3.5 inch wide cup holders throughout the entire car. In this space, you only have 3 inches from the edge here of the wall to the edge here of the slip. It's 3 inches, so you can fit like a standard 12-ounce can of soda or a 16-ounce water bottle in here, but anything bigger than that, it won't fit. So just keep that in mind. This one did not come with the Sony system. It's a stock 5-channel radio that has it has a built-in amp on the radio itself, but I do have a stealth box from JL Audio to install there, so I'll be doing that in the future. I already have it. I just got to change the driver and to something a little more powerful from JL, so I can put in like a nice amp and still keep my trunk space and my spare tire. So with that said, let's go ahead and close this up, and so that you can see inside of here. I'm a pretty big person and I fit really nice. I'm actually heavy. I'm actually overweight, and obviously you can obviously tell, but I have about a good 5 inches of space between my knee and here, and that is with my seat position to my my seating. And I'm 5'6". My wife is about 5'9", and she has her seat position to the way she wants it. And yeah, there's a fly in the damn car, damn it. Anyways, the doors are really huge. They have a lot of space on the door panel. It's a beautiful door panel. You have 5x7 speakers, coaxials on the rear door. You have 5x7 speaker components in the front doors. Both the tweeter and the speaker there, which are 5x7 and the 1-inch tweeter, are connected together to make a 4-ohm load to go into the factory radio to give you the power output. So the speakers in the front sound louder than the speakers in the back. And then you have your center channel, which I'm a little confused with that center channel because it sounds like there's a tweeter in there and not really a 3.5-inch driver. So I'm just letting you guys know the system sounds okay, but it's a little on the muddy side. So I am going to be switching it out to a JL system. I'm just deciding on the amplifier and whether I'm going to go with 5x7 C5 speakers or if I'm going to go with the fancier C7 6.5-inch drivers with adapters on the doors and obviously the tweeter and the 3.5-inch there and wire it all together. But whatever I do with the car audio wise, I'm definitely going to film it and I'm going to put it on the channel because I believe that I'm the only one on YouTube that actually has a JL Audio stealth box for the Ford Flex. I know there's a shop that did one on a Ford Explorer, but no one has actually shown one on a Flex. Everyone usually removes the spare tire and puts like 2 10s on the spare tire well, but I want to keep my spare because I live in Los Angeles and we have a lot of potholes here, and yeah, it's just a lot of work. But anyways, that's about it for the backside. Headrests are really soft and plushy. The seats are very soft and plushy. They feel even a little more comfortable than my own couches inside of the room or inside of my house actually. So there's a lot of space in here to actually be very comfortable. You have an armrest here, which is very convenient if you only sit 2 people there. Again, cup holders are about 3 to 3.5 inches, and they have these little rubber thingies to hold the cup in place so it won't fall off. So if you have those Contigo cups that are like metal kind, like those chubby cups, it will fit actually in here for your kids. And you have the center console control. However, I actually have this being controlled from the front of the radio, so even if your kids mess with these and try to adjust anything, it won't work because it's locked out. Everything's being controlled from up there, and I actually like that a lot. With that said, let's go ahead and go to the front of the car, and I'll show you guys the interior in here. Just excuse the mess that's in here. Okay, so in this car, we have the factory navigation system, which is really nice. I got to use it a couple times already. I've had it for a couple days, and it's a really well designed vehicle. I mean, it has a lot of space. I really like it, and it has plenty of horsepower. I honestly thought that I was gonna need the limited model with the EcoBoost engine, and I test drove this one. This one's only front wheel drive, but it actually has plenty of power to move the car with my family in it and my son's wheelchair, which is impressive. Let's see. With that said, things that before I go to things that I don't like about the car, This one comes with adjustable pedals. So you see that button right there? That one actually adjusts the pedals on the floor. And I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to put my foot right there just so you can see where the pedal's at. And I'm going to move the pedal forward. And you can see it moving right now. And that's as far as it moves. And then if you push the button back down that way and press it, it goes right back down. That is really convenient. Now, right here is where you have your trunk release. So your trunk opens up with this button. This one adjusts the brightness of the speedometer area. And that's about it. I have this on auto. It's much easier to just leave it like that. On the door panel, on the driver's side, you have your memory 1 and memory 2 for seating. You have your locks. And here you have your window locks to either lock them or unlock them so your kids can stop messing around with the with the windows. This part here, I'm going to turn on the car because it's a little hot. Okay. Let me go ahead and lower this down to 0. Let's see. Oh, this part here. This is really confusing. So this little turning knob is to adjust your mirrors on this side and on that side over there. Now it's confusing because I'm not used to turning these little knobs. You have to turn the knob in the center, removes the locking from both, and then you turn it to the left to adjust your window. Then you move it back and forth, the little rocker button. The middle row or the middle button there, like when you set it to the middle, that's to turn both of them off so you won't mess with anything. And then if you turn it to this side, it'll adjust the passenger front side mirror. And that's about it. But it's confusing because I'm not used to having it here. On my Genesis, I had it down on this area and it was much easier to control. I haven't figured out how to turn all the lights on when it comes to like wanting to have all the lights on in the car at the same time in the nighttime. But I'm sure I'm going to figure that out eventually. This car does not have paddle shifters, but it does have the little plus and minus button on the shifter. I don't think I'm going to use it. I don't think I need it. In the odometer, like you can see, it only has 300 miles on the odometer right now. I bought it with 226, so I did add my own mileage into it already. And I did get it with a full tank of gas. This side here displays basically all of your infotainment information. So it's either USB or Pandora music off of your smartphone for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Let's see what else. It does USB, which is what I have it on right now. Then there's Sirius XM information that it can let you know, and even navigation. But under navigation, you only have that little what's that thing called? That compass thing, and I don't like how it looks. So on this side over here, you can get more adjustments on your steering wheel and stuff. You can change things like you can just have it with the gas showing. You can have distance to empty. You can show your miles in digital instead of just looking at the tachometer or whatever. Or you can have it like this. And then in other cases, you can also select your trip. So you can select trip 2 or trip 1, which is what I already started with, which I'm averaging about 16 miles or so on just city driving. So it's basically as advertised. And fuel economy, again, I'm averaging about 15.8 miles in the city, because that's all I've been doing right now. I have not done any highway driving. It's been city driving. Drive assist, you have your traction control, you have blind spot monitoring, which is that little yellow dot button that shows on your window there. Once you have a car near you, you see that little icon there light up. And then you have cross traffic and rear park aid. The rear park aid is really cool. I was actually backing out of a Rite Aid parking lot, and somebody almost hit my car, which is the car that I'm literally in right now, the Flex. And if it wasn't for this rear park aid with the beeping sound letting me know that somebody was about to come, they would have straight out T-boned me on the back. And that would have sucked for this car, because it's only 3 days old right now that I've had it out of the dealership. So that would have really sucked. Under settings, You have your display settings, so you get to see the again, distance, which we have it set to miles and stuff. Under the gauge display, you can see your fuel gauge or fuel intact. And then language obviously is English, Spanish, or French. Temperature, we have it set on Fahrenheit. And let's see, vehicle information, you got auto engine off, which is really convenient. Lighting, automatic lamp delay, locks. I have it exactly like this: auto lock, auto unlocked. And let's see here, you got your Ford My Key that you can set up, but I don't have that set up yet. And then other than that, I think that's about it when it comes to this. But yeah, I believe it has a little bit more options here, but I'm not sure how else, how else to get to it. I think it's under, no, it's not under fuel economy. Well, anyways, I'm still, learning about this this stuff. And let me see here. Yeah, let's exit out of that. Anyways, I'm pretty sure other people have gone through this, but it's pretty cool to have that information. Let's see what else. Radio for all the basshead guys. If you're interested in learning a little more about the radio. So this is the source. I have it under a USB, and I have a 32 gigabyte mic USB thumb drive, and I have about maybe 2,500 songs or so in here, and it actually displays the album art. It displays the name of the artist and basically the name of the album and the song name and the track, which is pretty cool. Under sources though, you have the options of AM, FM, Sirius XM, CD player, Bluetooth audio to come out of your smartphone or your USB, which is pretty convenient. Under climate control, you can control things separately, like your own climates and your spouse climate. And then you also have controls of the rear air conditioning here. I wish I can tell you the temperature here instead of in number, instead of just showing it to you like that, but that's just how it is. You don't have control, too much controls like it is here. Other than that, let's go to settings. Under settings, to adjust your radio's bass, treble, and mid-range, you just click under sound. Since this one doesn't have a subwoofer in the back, I don't know if the other ones, the Sony system, has any control for that. But in this case, you only have treble, mid-range, and bass. Now, I had to set it like this because the bass is too muddy on the 5x7 speakers. And the tweeters don't sound as clear, so I have them all the way up. But I'm sure that once I switch my stuff to the JL system, it's going to sound way better. I will be using a JL Audio Fix 86 connected to here to that JL 86, and then from the 86 to the amplifiers. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use that new VXI 5-channel amp, the 1000/5 one, or and make it simple, or if I'm going to go with like an HD 750, which I already own, and maybe a VXI 800 to use maybe the front tweeter separate and the door speaker separate in the front, so that would be 4 channels used, and then the other channels can be used for the rear door speakers and just have some good sound overall. But here you have your fader and balance control, very easy to use. And then what I like that the Genesis didn't have is the speed compensation volume. In the Genesis, I couldn't turn that feature off. So every time I would reach about 25 miles or more, this feature would kick in where the bass would increase and so would the volume. And that would actually mess with the adjustments that I made on the stock amplifier and the aftermarket amps that I had in it back then. On this one, I have it off, so it makes it easier for me to just leave it that way and not have to worry about it. Now, this kind of controls your stuff too. So you can have the audio coming from all the seats, meaning the audio will balance out for the front and rear, or I can have it set only for the driver's side. So for the front speakers or the rear speakers, which is really cool. Other than that, let's go back here. I got pushed up by accident, my bad. Let's see here. You have your media player. You have different settings. I left it like this because I like the album art that I set up. But if you hit that Grace Note management thing, that would actually give you something from the Ford database for the music that you're playing and give you a different album art other than what you already have installed. So it's pretty interesting how they have this set up. And you could put Wi-Fi on this to have Wi-Fi running off of tethering off your smartphone, or you can get one of those Wi-Fi devices that you can tether off of, which is not so bad. Let's see here. Navigation is pretty easy. I'm not going to go through that. Let's see. General settings. That's all you pretty much have here is just language, distance, temperature. If you want the beeping sounds on the trunk, about your my Ford My Sync thingamabob. And here you have basically your voice command settings, which you could either choose to have it talk to you, or you can just choose to have it do a chime, or have it do a chime and then talk. So that's not so bad. Valet mode is a pretty cool feature. I don't have this set up yet, but you can set it up to where you can lock the radio and lock other things in the car so that it won't, so that nobody that does the valet parking messes with your settings, and then you have to try to figure everything out. Vehicle wise, you can actually set up your door keypad from here. Basically you would have to enter your key card that you get with the car when it's brand new, set that, and then you can customize it to your own key locking, and that's about it. Camera setting is the same thing. You have the enhanced park aid with the beeping and all that thing, exactly what you see there. It's exactly what it displays, and that's about it. When it comes to the backup camera, it's all right. I wish it was a little more HD, because I'm going to go ahead and put the car in reverse real quick. And you can see here that it doesn't look that great. You see that? And I have the parking brake on, which is why it's doing that. But you can hear the beeping sound in the back. That's a complaint my son had too. That backup beeping, you can hear it really loud coming from the trunk on the third row. So I kind of wish that beeping was here in the front, but I mean, you can't be too picky on the car, you know what I mean? But other than that, that's pretty much it. Navigation has worked fairly well as well. I no longer have to use my smartphone and my data from my smartphone for GPS navigation, because I now have that built in. So this is way updated than what I normally would have in my trunk or in my Genesis. So yeah, man, this is really cool. So again, I only have about 300 miles in the odometer right now. And yeah, I think I'm gonna enjoy this car for a lot of years to come. Now, what did this car cost me altogether with my trade-in, which I got $6,000 from my Hyundai Genesis sedan with a little over 86,000 miles, which I thought was pretty fair for it being a Hyundai. And basically it paid for itself. I had one more payment to make on it for 540 or 535-ish, and it basically paid itself off. The rest went as a down payment for this car. So altogether, I got this car for $35,000.61. My APR with my credit union is 4.69%, which for the way my credit was, which wasn't okay, all that great, it was fair. I think it's a good deal, because other places would have straight out rejected my application period if I didn't have at least a 740. So I'm really happy with all of these results. My payments are going to be about $560 a month, and it's for about 72 months. So I will be paying the bank about maybe a little bit more than $5,000 in interest. But I mean, it's all right. I don't plan on getting rid of this car. I know that I bought it brand new, and you lose value on the vehicle as soon as it comes off the lot. But I plan to keep this car for a very long time and baby the hell out of it. So instead of doing my oil changes on this car every 7,500 miles, I'm going to do it exactly like I did on my Genesis. do it every 3,000 miles, and have the car properly lubricated with high quality synthetic oil, as like I did with my Genesis. And the same thing with the fuel. I was using premium on that car, so I might do the same to this one to make sure that I don't have those nasty deposits and nasty buildup on the fuel injectors on this car, so everything could be running clean and smooth. Other than that, I think that's about it. Now that I told you guys what my percentage is, my insurance is through Progressive. I have full coverage insurance, and that's about $132 a month, which is literally $10 cheaper per month than I was paying for my used Genesis. So yeah, everything came out more cheaper. I was paying $420 a month for my Genesis, so I'm paying about $140 more for this brand new Ford Flex in monthly payments for the car, and $10 less than I was paying on my Genesis for insurance. So that's not bad. I think it's a pretty good deal. Other than that, I think that's about all I'm going to talk to you guys about this Flex. I'm really happy with it so far. I actually bought it on June 28th of 2019 around 3 p.m. from Ford of Montebello. So I'm really grateful with Geronimo, who was my sales guy, and also with the branch manager, or the sales manager, which his name is George Sanchez. Thank you guys for treating me with respect and giving me a good value on my trade-in, and helping me get in and out within 90 minutes. I was in and out within 90 minutes at Ford of Montebello. There wasn't that much haggling. It was actually really easy to get the transaction done. I personally didn't mind maxing out my 35K of a auto loan. So I was cool with it because, based on my income, which I won't mention, but I'm pretty well off to be able to afford the 35K. So that's not a problem for me. But yeah, overall, I'm very happy with this car. And as you can see back here, I mean, I have a lot of room for myself. I have a lot of room for my kids and cargo space. So I'm really happy with this car. It's really sad that Ford is letting go of the Ford Flex. I think a lot of people, if they can oversee the way the car looks and actually see what its utility, what it can do, I think people would buy this over the Explorer. But everyone has different tastes. That's why you see different models of cars driving around. But overall, I'm happy with the car. I'm happy with my sales, the sales team that worked with me on the car, and my credit union. Special thanks to them too for approving me for the loan. So if you live in the Los Angeles area and you need an auto loan, try checking out Gain Federal Credit Union, located in Burbank. They took really good care of me, and I'm pretty sure they'll take care of you as well. Thank you guys for watching, man. Have a good one. Again, one more thing, if you guys have any questions about this Flex now that I have it, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys may have. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.